The cold wind cut through the city streets and alleys like a knife. 8-year-old Emily, dressed in a faded, patched old cotton jacket, darted through the street corner. Her small hands were red from the cold, clutching a basket full of candies, tightly, her eyes filled with anxiety and anticipation, occasionally glancing at passers-by. At that moment, a luxurious car slowly pulled over to the side of the road. The door opened, and a well-dressed tycoon, Mr. Williams, stepped out. He stood tall, his face exuding calm confidence, but his brow was slightly furrowed, as if pondering something important. Seeing this, a glimmer of hope stirred in Emily's heart. She took a deep breath, mustered her courage, and hurried forward, her voice trembling slightly as she said, "Sir, would you buy my candies? My mom hasn't eaten in 2 days." She tilted her head up, her eyes full of pleading, hoping this kind-looking man would help them. Mr. William paused, his gaze falling on Emily, looking at the frail little girl. His heart stirred slightly, but years of business experience quickly restored his composure, and he said calmly, "Little one, I'm a bit busy right now." With that, he prepared to walk past Emily and leave. Watching Mr. Williams' retreating figure, Emily felt unwilling to give up. Determined not to let this chance slip away, she hurriedly chased after him, blocking his path again, her voice breaking. With a sob, "Sir, please buy some candies, my mom is really hungry." Tears welled in her eyes, her hands gripping the basket so tightly that her knuckles turned white from the effort. Mr. William, slightly exasperated by Emily's persistence, stopped again and looked closely at the little girl. He noticed that, despite her tattered clothes, her eyes shone with resilience and determination. Curiosity stirred within him. What had this little girl been through? Still, he didn't immediately agree to her request, instead asking, "What's wrong with your mom? Why hasn't she eaten in 2 days?" Sobbing, Emily stammered, "My dad passed away and my mom is sick. We have no money and no food. I want to sell candies to buy food for her." Hearing Emily's response, Mr. Williams' compassion deepened, but he still didn't reach for his wallet. Instead, he said, "I'll think about it, but I really have urgent matters to attend to now." With that, he turned and quickly walked toward a nearby office building. Watching Mr. Williams' figure disappear, Emily's tears finally spilled over. She felt like a failure, unable to even secure a meal for her mother, such a simple task. But soon she wiped her tears, vowing silently, "I can't give up, I have to get food for Mom." And so, Emily continued standing at the street corner selling her candies to passers-by. The winter wind sliced her cheeks like ice, her face alternating between flushed and pale from the cold. Her stomach growled with hunger, each sound a protest. But she knew these candies were her and her mother's only hope. She couldn't eat them. Emily called out with effort, her voice growing hoarse. "Candies for sale. Delicious candies. Please buy some, uncles and aunties." But most people hurried by, ignoring her calls. A few stopped to look at her candies, only to shake their heads dismissively and walk away. Time ticked by. The sun gradually sank, and the sky turned orange-red. Yet Emily's basket remained nearly full. Her mood grew heavier, her legs aching from standing so long, but she stubbornly stayed put. Just as despair began to take hold, she suddenly saw Mr. William emerge from the office building. Emily's eyes lit up, as if seeing a ray of light in the darkness. Without hesitation, she ran toward him, her steps unsteady with excitement. This time, she stood before Mr. William without speaking, only looking at him with eyes full of longing and determination. Her lips trembled slightly, as if wanting to say something but fearing another rejection. Seeing Emily, Mr. Williams' heart softened. He had assumed she'd gone home long ago, never expecting this little girl to persist in the cold wind for so long. He began to see her with new respect, his admiration growing. Just as he was about to speak, a black business car pulled up beside them. The door opened, and a middle-aged man in a sharp suit and sunglasses, Mr. Henry, stepped out. He quickly approached Emily, looked her up and down, then pulled a thick wallet from his pocket. "Little one, I'll buy all your candies," Mr. Henry said, counting out a stack of bills and handing them to Emily. Emily was stunned, overwhelmed by this sudden stroke of fortune, momentarily at a loss. "Take it, little girl," Mr. Henry said with a smile. "Go buy some food for your mom." Snapping back to reality, Emily took the money with trembling hands, tears of joy glistening in her eyes. "Thank you, Uncle. Thank you." Watching this scene, Mr. William felt a pang of doubt. He stepped forward and politely asked, "May I ask who you are?" Mr. Henry removed his sunglasses, smiling. "I was passing by and heard about this little girl's situation. I couldn't bear to ignore it." Turning to Emily, he asked with concern, "Where's your mom? I'll drive you home." Emily hesitated, glancing at Mr. William, then at Mr. Henry, before nodding. Mr. Henry opened the car door, and Emily got in. As the car drove off, Mr. William felt an unease he couldn't pinpoint. Sitting in the car, Emily clutched the stack of money tightly, her heart full of gratitude. She thought, "Finally, I can get Mom a proper meal." The car sped through the city streets, soon arriving at the rundown neighborhood where Emily lived. Mr. Henry followed her to her home and saw Emily's frail mother lying in bed. A complex look flashed in his eyes before he said, "Take care of your mom. I have some things to handle, but I'll come back to check on you later." With that, he left quickly. Emily didn't think much of it and hurriedly fed her mother with the food she bought. Seeing her mother regain some strength, her heart swelled with joy. Little did she know, this mysterious benefactor's appearance was just the beginning, and more unexpected events were to come. In the days that followed, Mr. Henry, the mysterious benefactor, kept his word, frequently visiting the mother and daughter. He brought various supplies and arranged for doctors to examine and treat Emily's mother. With his help, her mother's condition gradually improved. Emily's face bloomed with smiles again. Every day, she'd sit by the door, eagerly awaiting Mr. Henry's arrival. She'd share her day's experiences, like seeing a beautiful bird or learning a new nursery rhyme, and Mr. Henry would listen patiently, occasionally giving a warm smile. To Emily, this benefactor was like an angel sent from heaven, saving her and her mother. The neighbors in the community learned of their plight and began to help. Some brought clothes, others cleaned their home, and some chatted with Emily's mother to lift her spirits. With everyone's care, Emily and her mother's once dark life seemed infused with warm rays of sunlight, brightening up. Emily felt like the luckiest child in the world. Despite all the hardships, so many people had come to their aid in their darkest moment. But the good times didn't last. One day, Emily waited at the door as usual, but Mr. Henry didn't show up. Puzzled, she reassured herself that he was probably just busy. The next day, he still didn't appear, and unease crept into her heart. She asked her mother, who could only shake her head helplessly. On the third day, the familiar black business car pulled into the neighborhood, but Mr. Henry's face was unusually grave. He gathered Emily and her mother together, silent for a long time before saying, "I'm sorry. I may not be able to keep helping you." Emily and her mother were stunned, unable to believe their ears. Emily's eyes reddened, and she grabbed Mr. Henry's hand, crying, "Why? Uncle, why are you suddenly stopping?" Mr. Henry sighed and explained, "My company is facing a severe crisis. Our funds have dried up and I can barely take care of myself, let alone support you two." Hearing this, Emily and her mother were filled with despair. The hope they'd just glimpsed shattered in an instant. Looking around their empty home, the supplies Mr. Henry had brought seemed to whisper of past warmth, now replaced by endless sorrow. Though her mother's condition had improved, she still needed ongoing treatment and medication, which they couldn't afford. Emily felt an unprecedented helplessness, unsure what to do, tears falling silently. The neighbors felt sorry for them, but their limited means couldn't fill the void left by Mr. Henry's departure. Emily and her mother's life sank back into a dark abyss, the future shrouded in uncertainty. Struggling in despair, their days grew harder. Emily still went to the streets daily, trying to sell candies to survive, but the meager income was a drop in the bucket compared to her mother's medical expenses. That day, as usual, she stood at the street corner, clutching her worn candy basket. her eyes full of exhaustion and helplessness. Suddenly, a familiar, luxurious car pulled up. The door opened, and out stepped Mr. William, the tycoon from before. Seeing Emily, his heart sank. The little girl before him was even thinner now, her eyes filled with deep despair. He walked straight to her and asked softly, "Little one, do you remember me?" Emily looked up, a spark of surprise in her eyes quickly dimming. She nodded faintly. Looking at her, Mr. William's heart was a mix of emotions. He recalled her hopeful, determined eyes from their first meeting, and seeing her now filled him with pity. Determined not to stand by, he said, "I heard about your situation. Don't worry, I'll help you." Emily's eyes reignited with hope. Hardly believing her ears, she asked shakily, "Really, Uncle?" Mr. William nodded firmly. He followed Emily to her home, seeing the dilapidated house and her frail mother, which strengthened his resolve to help. He immediately promised to cover her mother's medical expenses and provide for their daily needs. Emily and her mother, overcome with emotion, wept tears of gratitude. Emily held Mr. William's hand, repeating, "Thank you." With his help, Emily's mother's condition stabilized, and Emily regained her former smile. Over time, Emily and Mr. William grew closer. She always wondered, why had he suddenly decided to help them? One day, she mustered the courage to ask, "Uncle William, why are you so kind to us?" Mr. William looked at her, lost in memories. He said slowly, "Because I was like you when I was young, going through hardships. My parents died when I was little, and I had to survive on the streets. Back then I was like you, scrambling for a single meal. Once I was starving for days, and a kind old lady gave me a piece of bread, saving my life. From then on, I swore that when I had the means, I'd help those in need like I once was. When I first met you and heard your mom hadn't eaten in 2 days, I saw myself in you, so I wanted to do everything I could to help you out of this hardship." Moved by his words, Emily realized this successful tycoon had such a difficult past. Tears in her eyes, she hugged him tightly and said, "Uncle, you're our greatest benefactor. I want to be like you and help others in need someday." Mr. William gently patted her head, smiling warmly. From then on, Emily lived with renewed effort, her heart full of gratitude, planting a seed of kindness she hoped would grow and help others. Mr. William decided to learn more about Emily and her mother's lives, offering not just material support, but emotional guidance. He visited their home often, talking with them about their needs, hobbies, and dreams for the future. During one conversation, he discovered Emily's passion for drawing, despite their hardships, using scavenged pencil stubs to sketch on old newspapers. Seeing her playful yet raw sketches, he resolved to provide her with better learning opportunities. He contacted a renowned art teacher to give her professional guidance. He also learned that Emily's mother had been a skilled weaver before her illness, earning extra income by crafting small items. Mr. William connected her with craft shops to sell her work, giving her purpose and income. To make her work easier, he bought her a new set of weaving tools. Through their interactions, he grew to admire their resilience and optimism despite life's challenges. This strengthened his commitment to help them transform their lives. His support became more tailored. He enrolled Emily in an art class, driving her there every weekend. Emily thrived, her talent shining through, earning praise from teachers and peers. Seeing her beam with confidence over her artwork warmed Mr. William's heart. For Emily's mother, the craft shops were enthusiastic about her work, placing many orders. She busied herself with weaving, her life becoming fuller, and her health improved with her positive mindset. Seeing their lives stabilize, Mr. William felt immense satisfaction. Though the journey had been tough, their collective efforts had brought Emily and her mother a brighter future. Through this experience, Emily grew stronger and more mature, vowing to study hard and one day help others in need, passing on the kindness she'd received.